You are listening to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It's Niall.
Oh, yeah.
And it's me, Brian. And on this episode, we are covering the anime that aired the week of the 16th of March 2020 to the 22nd of March 2020. And we kick off with Pet. Episode 11, Reunion. I think if I have to vote in a villain of the year, I think Tsukasa is now my villain of the year.
He's a fucking ass.
I mean, we're early days, but fucking hell, has he made a trailblazing thing for his villainous career?
It was pretty admiring of the kind of flip it pulled. You see, at the beginning of the series, because Tsukasa.
They seem the innocent young kids and everything. Yeah.
They seem to use this one to get out of it, and then as the layers are peeled back, and we get to the rotten core at the heart of it. I know Tsukasa has been through a lot of psychic trauma recently, but this seems to have unearthed all of these feelings that he wants to act on, but he's concealed, and then there's leaking out, and he drools like a lunatic.
It's funny that like another guy who's ostensibly the villain for like everyone else in the show was kind of like, "Hey, buddy, you're laying it on a bit thick there, aren't you?"
Yeah, but again, everyone adapted. When Katsuragi is just like, yeah, feel bad for that dude.
Oh my god, fucking poor Katsuragi. Even the way they talk about him in this episode, it's like, we'll just edit Katsuragi's memories, and he's like, what? Don't tell me while I'm in the room. Sorry, you won't remember this. Ah, son of a.
Yeah, because going into this episode, I was like, how is all the stuff with Hayashi and Katsuragi going to come into play? Well, it starts to come into play, and I assume by next week's episode it definitely comes into play, based on the title. Yeah. But yeah, so their plan, Tsukasa's plan is the plan he's presented is we're going to trick Satoshi into thinking Hiroki's crushed Hayashi, and then
so we'll say Hayashi's back, but he's been crushed, and you need to go get revenge, but not kill him. You need to edit his memory, because that'll be so much more delectable revenge
to make him obedient. But what he's actually planning on doing is then crushing Satoru, and then claiming, "Oh no, Hiroki was too powerful."
Hiroki was too powerful. I can't possibly change his memories, so we have to work with him so he can make you babies, and he will be the new golden boy, and I'll have him on a lead, basically.
Yeah. Looks like I need to be around after all.
Yeah. Like kind of guaranteeing him a position, even when Jin's kind of saying, it's like, as soon as they make us a perfect baby, we're going to cut all these motherfuckers loose.
Yes. Well, perfect pet, they start saying this time.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry.
Yeah, and then they're right. Tsukasa has rightly figured out that, they'd all figured out that, oh yes, Satoshi's no idiot. He's going to be suspect.
Satoru, even.
Yeah, Satoru. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
And he's going to be suspicious, and so Tsukasa comes up with the idea. Well, okay, we'll use his suspicion to make him think it we'll then alter Katsuragi's memories. We'll go into Katsuragi's memories, and that will confirm what we're saying.
Yeah, so I did like their thing of like, we're purposely going to be obfuscating with how we're talking about it. We're not going to mention it's like, yeah, it was his idea. He did it, and Katsuragi's the only guy who acts like he was fucking there and had the conversation.
Yeah, because
he'll go for Katsuragi's memories.
Because what they tell him is that Hiroki found out that Hayashi had made Mei Ling this pet without a lock, and on her. And
your man's kind of like, why would he make it without a lock? Doesn't matter. He did, and the kid decided to take revenge on him. He decided to enact his own form of vengeance, and your man's like, that doesn't sound like either of these people that I know quite well.
They're being super shifty,
but they're purposely being shifty to make him to feed into the suspicion that he naturally has. Yeah, it's quite clever as a plan.
Yeah, I mean, even afterwards when they show like the quote unquote proof, and then you can go and like link up by mailing the room. Just go on in there. Just like you can go in there for free to lock the door, and we won't disturb you. As soon as he's in, give me that spare key and go with him. That's really this barging in his stuff.
Well, it's not even that he like that. Again, that was clever manipulation by him. It's like, dude, you're gonna let him in there alone on his own. You don't know what messages might be hidden in her for him specifically. And he's like, oh shit, I didn't think of that. And he's like, this guy's fucking losing it. He's like, haha, that was my plan to play actually stupid, so I could use it to get the back door in to his head and use my little backdoor trick. Like everyone's playing like he's like schemes within schemes in this episode. It's really quite fun to see happen.
Like long when they bring it. Okay, Satoru, he's just right there in the next room, and then we open the door and Hayashi there in a vegetative state, and it's just like, oh my God, Hayashi saw what happened to you. And then Tsukasa goes, I know, oh my God, why is he in the chair? And then now it's going, you idiot, you're playing up too much.
You're over salting the pudding there, man. Yeah,
but again, that probably is again feeding into like this scheme trying to concoct.
Yeah, but Hayashi's own scheme is that he told Mei Ling that should she ever meet a man with a scar on his forehead, to tell him about the carrier. He has a carrier pigeon who's afraid of cats. But she calls him a pigeon to begin with. And second time,
carrier pigeon, the carry pigeon doesn't like a cat.
She just says a pigeon doesn't like a cat.
Like, oh.
Yeah, and then second time she remembers the carrier part, but forgets the stuff about the cat.
The problem with trying to relay your last will to in long words to a small child.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who speaks a different language than you do as well.
That as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so he gets that message, but by the end of the episode, he's full bore on getting revenge on Hiroki. We also see Tsukasa. He's the one caring for Hayashi in his vegetative state, because now he can't run away from him. And then he starts thinking, what if Hiroki doesn't want to go along with my plan? Well, I'll just have to crush him, and then I'll just have two mouths to feed.
When he has the image of like his pet like in the same sort of vegetative state, and it's so you think it's supposed to be like a thing of, oh no, that would be terrible, but he's like, well, I guess I can just love him that way. It's so fucked up. He'd be willing to do that to his master and his pet. Yeah. He's already been willing to do it to his master, obviously.
Yes, I mean, he always did do it. It's like that's somebody that he definitely like loved and cared about.
And still does, apparently, because he's quite happy to wait on his vegetative body.
It's just so fucking twisted. Oh
yeah.
And meanwhile, Hiroki has broken into somebody's house and is watching another couple's relationship to get relationship tips on how to deal with Tsukasa, but it doesn't help him. The rabbit in their flat appears to be more of a help.
Well, I mean, like, the rabbit's a pet, he's a pet. It's like, you're in a situation out of your control, buddy. You get me, rabbit. I don't need to mind wipe you.
I thought I was just hiding it there because it's the first open door they found, and despite the last place to do it.
It could be that, like, it could be a good hiding space, but it's definitely, like, supposed to be, like, a similar thing. And he is seeing how relationships work and how couples and people who care about each other make compromises because they do care about each other. Which is absolutely not what his fucking boss wants to do.
Yeah, well, Tsukasa isn't going to do any of that for me at all. He's just telling me what to do and not giving it anything the other way.
And it's like, oh, hey, there's that butterfly I've seen before.
Because they're driving around town with the comatose kid, going like, "Hey, has anyone seen her butterfly?" And then it's like, as soon as they do, it's like, "Oh, then we can get him, pull him in."
Okay. Yeah. Go into your mind, go into yourself. Yep, we got him there. Let's follow the breadcrumbs, follow the butterfly, and we let him right in. He's let us right to himself.
Yeah, but Long has to leave to tell Katsuragi, so that leaves Tsukasa and Satoru and Hiroki alone in Mei Ling's peak. And Hiroki tries to get away, but Tsukasa's trained Satoru to visualize his doorway.
Hey, your image has changed over the years, because it was as small as a kid's door when you were a kid, but now it's a fully grown adult door that like two people can walk through. So generally your image is supposed to be like the solid thing, whereas his image has slowly been changing as he needed it. So it's like, hey, you could just wrap your door around him so he can't get away as a fish.
Yeah, well, we know they're malleable because sure, Sarkassus is just turns to liquid. That takes all forms. And then Hiroki can turn into fish, into half fish person, and
Because they nearly
we're-
mentioned Doraemon, I was wondering, was that a specific thing that his door could do? Like you could wrap it up and put it in your pocket, kind of thing. You know,
Well,
is
everything
that, like there was.
everything goes in Doraemon's pocket.
But no, what I mean is like the very cartoony physics he's doing with his door is kind of another reference to maybe a Doraemon thing. Because they nearly say it in this one. It's like, hey, what cartoon was that? It's like, oh, they played it in China too. We can't name it for legal reasons.
I can't remember what it was. It had a robot cat and a wimpy kid. I think it was called the robot cat that messed everything up.
Something like that, anyway.
Not
Yeah,
very
sure.
snappy, is it?
It's normally the kid who messes everything up. It's the robot cat who has to restore order. He's the one who's been sent back to fix the terrible ancestor.
And it's totally we're talking about Doraemon, Brian. It's a totally different character than you're talking about.
Yeah, and so we're ending with the confrontation with Satoru and Hiroki.
Yeah, I'm guessing Hiroki will fuck both of them up because I don't think he's going to go along with what Tsukasa has planned for the two of them. It says, you know what? I think I do. I think I have outgrown you, and you, the master, have still outgrown me somehow.
The pet could bite the hand that feeds it. I feel like Satoru has put one and one together, at least to some extent. That he knows this isn't what he's been told isn't what's up, that kind of ways. But I'm curious as to what way he's going to react to that information. And
Yes.
what our poor favorite character is, what horrible fate awaits him, because he's the
I assume that's next
he's the ace in the
episode.
sleeve, I guess.
Because next
Yeah,
episode's called
yeah.
Carrier Pigeon, so
Well, come on, Katsuragi, he's going to come good. He's going to get out of this cleanly, and get out of it scot-free. He's going to just go and hang out and co-run the pub with your man from episode 1.
I feel like this is going to be like when I was
Best
watching
friend,
the
as we know.
Yeah. I feel like this is going to be like when I used to watch The Wire, and I was like, how is Stringer Bell going to get out of this situation? Where I'm just like, oh, God, I hope he gets out of this, that kind of way. Well.
except I suspect whatever's happened to Katsuragi has already happened long in the past.
Oh, yeah, like he's probably, like, on that car ride back, he's probably already set things in motion of whatever the fuck they are, yeah.
Yeah,
And what else will Hayashi's programming get him to do at this stage?
Yeah.
yeah. I was just trying to figure out whether it was possible for them to have switched places at some point, but we shall
That doesn't
see.
seem to be in the exact rules, but I guess the only time we've seen your man's mind was, like the...
Oh no, I don't mean
like
mentally
it-
switch places. I mean like at some point. So the Katsuragi we've been seeing has been Hayashi all along, and the Hayashi we've been seeing was actually a Katsuragi who switched places with.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh no, poor Katsuragi. Will live out his life when pooping into a tube.
Poor fucker.
But we
Yeah.
shall see. I think that would be too much of a stretch for a plot twist.
I mean, like, they are kind of making up rules as they go, but they've been fairly consistent, and that hasn't been something they can do so far. So
Yeah,
I kind of doubt it, but we'll see. There could be some more interesting things happening.
Just so what we've seen can be done with images, it can have this echoing effect, and it can be kind of leave messages behind to be picked up on the air. Is it probably feasible then to go further with that? And you can just leave an entire backup copy of a personality hidden deep in your psyche or someone else's psyche.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what way the memory stick, like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then that USB is like, do you think one day USB, but for your subconsciousness? Yes, I can do this.
Well, I'll be curious to see how it goes. But yeah, it seems like this episode. I mean, like, it is fairly simple to go over the bits of it, but the plans within plans that he has is just really fun to see him. Really fun to see him like play all these different guys, but also kind of be played himself, and also how fucking evil bastardy he is. It's quite shocking.
It's like all of these gears turning, and I think Long is just going to shoot him in the back of the head when this is done anyway.
Yeah, too much fucking hassle probably.
Yeah. I think even the president would do at this point. It's like, at what point do? Because his idea is like, and then I'll be the only person the president can rely. I mean, like, really, you think the president's going?
I think I'll just go back to running drugs and guns.
Yeah. I think he's approaching retirement age. I feel like retirement would be a better option than having to deal with Tsukasa as your only employee. Then we got Super Shiro, episode 23. Welcome to the Space Museum, in which we go to a space museum because that's where the Bobo Bone is this week.
24-hour space museum.
It is. So I guess that saved us from having to go through the usual hero's worry about having to break into a place.
Also, there's a robot tour guide, so you're not going to have to disguise yourself in a jacket from the humans, that kind of way.
Yes.
Bit of a pity there, but fun robot nonetheless. And also, the Boba Bone wasn't there. It was on the moon. We're going to the moon, boys.
Definitely going to the moon. Going to space. Put on your spacesuits, but being two small dogs, you can only wear the helmet when it fits your entire body.
Yeah, that was
your legs are exposed to the vacuum of space, but you have those little arm tube things.
That was my favourite visual gag of the episode, was them in those two giant helmets.
Dear.
Yeah, so they go into space. They go on a moonwalk. It turns out it was all VR.
It turned into gravity there for a little bit as Shiro was cast off into the void. He's spinning.
I was thinking they were definitely doing a thing on that because he was like the spinning animation and everything. Yeah. Good stuff.
Memories flashing before his eyes, all the food he won't get to eat. Eventually, Shin-chan, the rest of the O'Hara family. Can, of course.
Yeah, and they say they've discovered we can take the Moonrock home as a souvenir, but apparently the battery is still working on the VR on Decapu, so he's able to just take the Moonrock from Decapu. Step outside, asks the I can't never remember her name, the woman on the satellite, who asks if she's ever been to the moon. And we go all the time. We went as a school trip, wasn't it? But it was like a rundown spa.
It's not great in the moon, honestly. But I tell you what, if this is the Boba one, as you say, I'll take you to the moon. He's like, oh, brilliant, because this probably totally is Kaboom. No, it's not.
No.
They're getting better and better at the timing of just cutting off mid-sentence with the explosion. It wasn't to happen, but then it's just as the line of dialogue gets just chopped off partway through. It just makes me smirk and giggle a little bit.
Next week, Decapu's origin.
Looks like some fucking tragedy. Looking forward to it.
Iami by way of Mojo Jojo, looks like.
Yeah. It looks like he might have a smarter dog brother or something like that.
It's probably his dad. Probably.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, it also looks like his hat might be his head with a hat over the top of it. It might just have a giant brain.
Yeah. That's why Niall was saying like Mojo Jojo kind of thing.
Yeah.
Leader.
It's all brain, and that's how he makes these crazy inventions. Yeah.
Having just read the latest issue of Immortal Hulk, I was thinking the leader.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Hulk lately as well.
That's true.
It's just giant brains. Well, that was always like a thing as well. I think just the leader is one of the more visible examples of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then we've got My Hero Academia, episode 86, Let It Flow School Festival. Tell your friends next week, the hero Hawks makes his first appearance.
Wow.
Everyone's very excited.
I did laugh at the end, that preview for next week's episode.
This guy's going to be really cool. Watch out.
Yeah.
We may have seen him recently in the My Hero Academia movie too. Now find out just how cool he is.
I assume they must be counting like a popularity vote for Shonen Jump, and they're like, oh yeah, everyone loves this guy.
Yeah. Again, interesting as well because of his recent appearances and the latest chapters of the comic, and to see, I suppose, another side of his personality versus the one they're going to be presented with next week in the anime.
But the bulk of it is the school festival with a few bits of Gentle Criminal being arrested and then being interrogated at the police station.
I think I see why they leave the muzzle on Hound Dog as well. He gets a little excited.
I love Hound Dog. I forgot the person he's really mad at is All Might.
He's wanted to pick him up and shake it. I'd bite you if I could.
He's yowling and growling at me. He just take a great amount of care and concern in the welfare of the students.
Yeah, he's just a very excitable dog is the problem.
I like the fact that Deku doesn't get off without a bollocking, even though they don't have to shut the festival down because of Gentle Criminal. Just like the explanation of it's just a YouTube prankster who was trying to do a prank on the school, but he turned himself in.
He gets your one off by saying it's like I brainwashed her, and Deku's like, how come you're all busted up? It's like I fell down. What's wrong with you, Deku? I also fell down.
I fell down a different set of stairs.
Yeah,
in a different circumstance. Yeah,
we had a discussion, and he decided to turn himself in. I do like the bit later on which I'm sure will come back at some point, when the cops say, "Wow, you did this. Are you sure you don't want to come and work for us in a computer capacity?" I was like, "Oh, at some point they're going to need a computer expert in the story, and they'll have to turn to her." I will assume.
Yeah, and as well as the cops stood that one gorilla-headed cop going, Dave, we can kind of we're not stupid, we can kind of get an idea of what actually happened here, and like
he hasn't pegged straight away. Like you're the kind of guy who's who assumes you only get one shot at it.
Exactly. Yeah, you've actually done something wrong, but sure. It's grand. People make mistakes. Well, you got to. It's sorry that it came to this. We got to arrest you, but
it seems like
really
he's being kind of rough on him, but he's also going you can still turn your shit around. Like you can still become a productive member of society after you've served your time and shit. Because you haven't done major crimes, but you have definitely done crimes.
I feel like that gorilla cop is referencing a particular TV cop. Because I've seen that type of cop in other parodies.
The harsh but kind cop. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Or it could just be a stereotype of a kind of cop.
But I think it's particularly the fact that they've made him look like a gorilla. I think the guy he's parodying kind of has a gorilla type look to him, or maybe nicknamed Gorilla or something.
Yeah, sure.
Then they bring him a cup of tea and it's disgusting.
I did like the joke of that. It's kind of like at his expense where Gentle Criminal's tearing up because it's like, man, you still think I have a shot kind of thing. It's like, and your man's like, are you okay? Do you want a cup of tea? He's like, can I have black tea? It's like, we only have regular tea, dude. I felt a little bad for him, but also it's kind of like, yeah, you're going to have to get what they have on hand, dude. You can't have your fancy schmancy
tough
tea.
On the inside. Wasn't prepared.
Sadeko gets his bollocking because he's like, yeah, you wanted to try and protect the festival, but we're here to protect you. You should have come to us.
We are here for your support as well. Yes. So don't work on your own.
It's kind of lucky that it was a guy like Gentle Criminal and not somebody worse. And then
someone with scruples. Yeah.
But still, you got to go back and start enjoying the festival. Is that after they've done the performance, isn't it, or is that before?
It's before because he hasn't picked up the rope.
He's running late.
He picks up the video camera and the rope. But also a weird thing about ectoplasm, like one of the ectoplasms recognized Gentle Criminal. It's like, oh, I know this guy. He has a YouTube channel and shit. But the other ectoplasm looks at him, and I was like, wait, are they like completely different guys with different information? Because that's a new thing.
It doesn't work like Naruto or anything that one of Naruto's clones knows.
That they all know, yeah. I guess one of them has seen the YouTube channel and the other one hasn't. That's very strange.
I thought it'll be a thing. I've got all my clones. I'll be able to watch all of this, all these like really long TV shows. I don't have time for. So like watch 100 videos with 100 clones, and I'll get it done in a week.
Only some of the clones remember some of the episodes. Yeah.
And then they start a podcast you can just listen to week by week, so you don't have to watch it all yourself.
So much done.
Condense it in.
I
don't know how much his differs from Twice's quirk.
He has a specific number of clones he can do as well, so there is that.
Well,
I guess, ectoplasm he can only seem to clone himself, but he can make
Yeah, for sure.
That's
giant
true.
clones as well.
Yeah, the Twice could make other people's clones, can't it? Yes. But
And I guess that is a difference when he can combine the clones into one big clone. Again, just a big one of himself. Yeah, that is a little different in terms of copying.
yeah. Yeah, maybe ectoplasm is like actually quintuplets or something, and they've all got the same quirk. I suspect it's not important.
like that guy in Marvel. What's it? He's like 10 Chinese guys, or something like that.
I don't know. I vaguely know the fella, but he's not.
He's like a Chinese superhero, and they combine together because communism, and then they're as strong as many men as
is
they
he
combine.
is he Collective Man? Is that what he's called?
That's it. That's the guy. I love that idea, man. I thought that was great. Dear. Yeah, similar to that, maybe.
But then you got all the festival stuff. You've got their song performance, which I wish the song was better. And also,
I feel like
it wasn't bad.
It was good. I feel like the levels were a little off, especially between the singing and the music.
yeah,
At some points,
And
I think the problem is Dr. Stone did a fucking magnificent job.
yeah.
So everything's going to look bad in comparison.
I also watched 001 this week, which had a really good rap in it. A diegetic rap, which was like, that's kind of feels a lot better than this. I also feel like I wish they'd put as much effort into the performance animation as they've done in the fight scene animation. I did.
I can tell that some people had fun doing the dance animation because there's some really good unique character.
But I think also,
I get what you mean.
I think the issue is it's easier to convey in the comic and the problem is when you actually have to make that comic performance into a real performance, you then have to face the reality of you've got 20 bodies running around doing this performance, which makes it come off a lot clumsier and a lot more crowded than a
I feel
real
like
stage
if you got
performance
someone
would.
in, if you got someone in who kind of like directed anime kind of performance guys, that kind of thing, you'd maybe do a better job of it, like recutting it or something like that, because it kept cutting between characters and it kind of lost the flow of the feeling of the song a little at points. I still enjoyed it. It was still nice. It was still like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, it didn't feel like something which would make Eri smile, but Eri smiles and then the story works, so that doesn't really matter after that point.
Yeah, it works for in context of the story, sure.
I think as well. When I was reading this in the comic, at least of the Shonen Jump application, anyway, these chapters with the performance, the pages I got, they were not finished pages.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So
didn't actually put the finished ones in. Okay.
Did Koichi redraw those then for the volume when it came out, or
I assume he did. Yes.
he must have?
Yeah. Okay.
So just based off of that, I was thinking as well. Well, it was kind of good they got to have another go at this for the anime version and get the convey the scene you wanted to portray originally. Which they could get onto anyway when you're able to finish out the pages, I suppose. But have like another go at it and just really lay it all out there as well.
And then we get the play from Class B.
I cringed,
original.
but also I laughed. It was pretty great.
Story of our times, echoes through the ages. Amazing.
The beauty contest.
I like the way the crowd were as equally confused as the audience was. I was just like, how is this showing off her beauty? She's just spinning around on a mech of her own head.
Well, it's bigger and it's gold. That's better.
That's got to count for double. Yeah.
And then you get like a few glimpses of other, like an obstacle course and some other things. And while they couldn't find a candy apple, Deku went and got the ingredients as well as the rope and all the other stuff, and whipped up a candy apple for Eri to take, and then Eraserhead.
To Sato as well.
Yes,
the baker.
I did like his and Lemillion's reaction to that. They're just so fucking delighted they can help this little girl. It's really nice.
Yeah.
It's really sweet.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's like, oh, like he mentions Midoriya and Sir as well when look, she's smiling. But then Eraserhead does like get in a little line about, oh, you're going to be seeing more of her. You're going to be seeing a lot more of her anyway. So that's some foreshadowing. I can't remember if it's for next week or for a couple of arcs down the line. There's like some scenes I'm like, where did they come? Can't remember if they're immediate or whether they're part of like the next school arc.
Yeah, she was mentioned. She came mentioned again in the comic not too long ago.
No, she comes back to the school because there's a scene with her and the arsehole from class B.
Monoma.
Yeah, which then gives us some explanation of like how different quirks work. Because he's obviously a guy who's also got powers relating to powers in the same way as Eraserhead and Eri herself do. But I can't remember if that's immediately or whether that's part of like the big class versus class training arc that comes up. We should find out next week, but if it comes up immediately, it'll be next week because I can't imagine the entire episode's running down the top 10 of the new heroes, the new hero top 10 rather. I'd laugh if it was though, like it was top of the pops, but for heroes.
They give them all like a little bit, a little background piece, that kind of thing.
I could see them doing that just for Hawks. And
honestly, that would be fun to watch. So yeah,
the ultraviolet rabbit woman. And I think that's pretty much everything in the episode. No darkness lurking in the corners yet.
Yeah, we shouldn't.
I think we needed the light because if it was all doom and gloom, you'd be just tired out from it. So it was nice to have these episodes of a light kind of moral dilemma and then like a real happy, jumpy dance party episode. That's good.
We shouldn't forget as well that Kyoka, who's got this band organized and practiced and we're booking music for this as well. This was kind of meant to be like an arc for her as well, even though Deku, as he is his wont to make it about himself somehow. But it was a nice little bit where he's up on the stage, what a fun, get into the song, and she's thinking back to her, talking to her parents, I want to go to hero school. I know you guys are big into music, maybe that's what you intended for me as well, but I really want to do this.
And it feels like a betrayal for herself as well, because she knows she loves music. But she thinks that being a hero is a really fucking important thing.
Yeah, like me and your man, we share music with you because we enjoyed it, and you had a great time with it as well. But it should be something that you enjoy. It doesn't have to be what you make your whole life about. If you can make it, if you can incorporate into your life, even better. But like, do what makes you feel happy. This is what makes us all feel happy, and you being happy is what we want for you. And nice little
character moment there. Yeah.
It's kind of glossed over by, oh yes, by the way, Midori is the hero. He did all the good things and also all the bad things.
I do wonder, because there's a line Deku mentions about why Genta was such a hard person to fight, because he's who he could have become.
Yeah.
He's not 100% fucking wrong. He's doing things that for the right reasons, even though he's very much so, like in this episode, he has these little bit of, I was just kind of taking the spotlight for myself and being kind of selfish about it.
Yeah, which makes me wonder whether there'll be something down the line which will make him go, oh, I've got to not be Stain. Like, there'll be some sort of, seeing something terribly wrong with the hero system.
Well, maybe countering all his reflections of it, he will, thinking, okay, this thing that I've idolized for all of my young life, I've never questioned it too closely, but by, in the course of my work and studies here, encountering people who are quote-unquote villains, but they're just people who have tragic circumstances
circumstances, they're let down by society, or they have legitimate fucking grievances with the system. Yeah,
and even he's come up again soon in the interclass square-off thing there. The fella in the other class, he has the power to
Shinso,
Shinso, the power to command you with his voice, and thinking, yeah, but that guy, he'd be, I don't know, again, kind of put into that pigeonhole of being a villain, but here he is trying to, like, in the hero course, in the hero school, trying to do heroic things.
Exactly.
Like, that's like society again is trying to put these people into boxes when the boxes don't. They don't.
If you shoot bullets out your hands, you're more likely to do crimes. Yeah, that kind of way.
Yeah, here's hoping, huh?
And then, excuse me, talking of crimes, it's Case Closed, Detective Conan, episode 973, MPD Transportation Department, Part 3. Let me see if I can remember what happens in this. Yumi goes. She thinks she's being followed, but doesn't see anything. We learn that she is being followed, and there's a very good reason why she didn't see anything. Then the other cops they're also heading back to the crime scene to do some more questioning. And we get Chiba into the little fat guy.
Wait, the little kid one, or
No, the cop,
the detective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one who can't recognize his childhood love, even though
he remembers like his childhood love quite well, and he's like, "Oh, I need to let that go." It's not like we're working in the same fucking building or anything.
And they hear somebody call out. Oh, first of all, they're questioning somebody, and they learn that somebody threw themselves off that same building a few weeks ago, and then we get a little...
Yeah, they're questioning like a local old woman, and she's like, "Oh, was that about like is that any way related to that guy who committed suicide recently?" And they're like, "What? we didn't know that." It's very bad detectiving.
Well, we learn why they don't know that is because
Yeah.
they explain how the law works in Japan, which it feels like this is a bit like the Zero movie.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a dig about how police works in Japan. Is that
it's working? It's not working across each other, but it's not sharing information as fucking efficiently as it could be. Yeah,
because it wasn't no foul play was suspected. The police weren't told about it. It was just left to local authorities or the metropolitan
it's like
police.
that was a suicide. Therefore, you will never be fucking told
Yes.
about it. You wouldn't have been able to research it in local area crime, that kind of thing, because it wasn't a crime.
Yeah. I do recommend that the Zero movie, whichever number it was. That's really good in terms of like actually having a bit of a dig at how the Japanese judicial system works and doesn't work and works at cross purposes. So yeah, they then someone screams, "Oh, there's a dead policewoman!" And they run and they find Yumi lying inside the tape circle of the previous corpse.
And she's dead, and your one runs down, and the guy's like, "Oh, Yumi, oh, how could this have happened?" Yumi's like, "What? I fell asleep. What happened?" So it's a good fake out. I did enjoy that.
It is, particularly because like how annoyed she seems that they've woken her up. And it turns
So
out
they wanted to recreate the crime scene, herself and her maybe boyfriend, probably.
no, not her
boyfriend,
boyfriend.
detective.
No, it's the boyfriend. It's the partner of the female detective who is the boyfriend of the female detective.
Sorry, I'm probably mixing it up because she was heavily flirting with this dude because it flustered him.
Yes, but that's because I think she's referring back to the stuff that they were discussing in the episode 971 about the undercover work that they'd done
Yeah, you're
between
probably
them,
right.
where he would get flustered, and that's why I think that's what she was teasing him about there.
But yeah, she was lying down in the thing to try and recreate the crime scene to try and figure out which way she's facing and what way that means. And while lying down, she fell asleep because she was up all night playing mahjong again.
Yes.
Lying down in a murder scene and you fall asleep. Great cop work. Yeah.
But yeah, she realised. Oh, that why did she turn her head? Oh, she turned her head to look at the no waiting sign. I think they say no parking in this, and yeah, they find similar one at the other scene, and so they're like, oh, but did any of the three suspects have anything to do with that? They're like, no. So is it something to do with the colours or the shape? Is this what is? It's not the crime.
Yeah, because they
parking.
figure like each of their names have like one of the syllables for like parking or something like that.
Yeah, and then
So they're trying to find out what's the commonality here. Yeah.
and they've got the forensics on the phone, so they now know the numbers she put in was like 7355, I think. And they're still trying to work that out. Then she goes back to her car and finds some louts lingering around it.
I was kind of shocked about this. It's like, hey, police officer, we're here minding your car. You got to pay us to mind the car. And I'm like, she can arrest your ass. What the fuck are you doing?
Yes.
I know she's a traffic cop, but that's still a cop. That's not even cop adjacent. It's literally cop.
And then the author who house sits for Shinichi Kudo's parents shows up and apologizes for his friends, who he then accidentally beats up one of them.
It's like, sorry for my friends. They're real pieces of shit. Isn't that right, motherfucker? Let me accidentally nearly bottle you.
Yeah, and then they get the idea, and he apologizes, and we learn that her would-be on-again, off-again boyfriend, the shogi player, had rung his brother up, who is the FBI agent who's disguised as the author who's mining Shinichi Kudo's parents' house, and asked him to follow her to protect her because there's a serial killer.
Yeah, Taylor,
about.
because there's a serial
Yes.
killer for... Yeah,
And he
cops,
was
yeah.
of the opinion, like, she didn't need my help. She would have been perfectly fine without me being there. You're worrying too much, brother. Yeah, so does she end up with... Oh, is it... then the Mike is talking on the phone and the murderer just happens to be parked right next to her in the traffic and overhears her talking to Yumi, and then so kidnaps Mike to lure Yumi somewhere, and
Yeah, well, the fat cop, her childhood first childhood love is investigating a crime scene, and he's driving. Like, I think.
He's back
Conan
he's back
basically-
at the first crime scene, which is where he
First
meets
crime scene.
Conan.
And Conan's like, "Oh, I was here to check out the scene." He's asking him all kinds of leading questions. They know this kid is just like, "Yeah, well, this will probably be helpful for the case." So I'll just tell this kid the skinny.
He's like, my
fine.
skateboard ran out of batteries. Could you drive me to the professor's house? Then they get a strange phone call, which is a bunch of tapping. Because...
I assume Morse code or something.
yeah,
you know?
she'd found it.
I do not know Morse code. You think for the amount of fucking shows I watched that
Yes.
use it, I'd learn it at this stage, but no.
She'd got a second phone, and so she'd sent some sort of message to Chiba, which I assume Conan will have to figure out. Meanwhile, they're talking about the Japanese road signs being based on English, and that's the clue that Conan needs to solve what the numbers mean and the signs mean together. But he's not going to let on this episode what it is.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. We got Mike kidnapped to set a trap for Yumi, because he thinks the Yumi they were talking to is this Yumi, but it's actually their friend, the hostess. And
Well, it doesn't matter. This guy has killed 2 women already, so it's still a dangerous circumstance.
it is, yes. But I assume he was trying to get home to prevent the woman from throwing herself off the building and them delaying. Or he thinks that if he was there, she wouldn't have killed herself. I assume that's what the motivation is going to be. It's like them delaying whichever one it was from by them giving them a ticket is led to that suicide.
Like, if he was parked outside of that building, because that's where one of the no parking signs was, then him getting a ticket, did that stop him from interacting with her in that specific building?
Yeah, well, I think they specifically said it's not. None of them were given a ticket for a parking violation.
Oh, no, that he was given a ticket for that kind of thing. Like, this is a guy completely unrelated.
Oh
to-
no, they would never do that in Conan. It's one of those 3 people.
But we haven't even met those people. We've only ever seen them be angry and upset in, like, moving stills. So I figured it's like, are those guys red herrings? It's like,
No.
it's actually going to be none of these motherfuckers.
No, it would never do that.
Okay, fair
It's
enough.
always a fair mystery in Conan.
All right, okay.
So you've had your suspects, you've had your clues. Now you've got a week to put it all together.
I haven't met any of the suspects, though.
But you know their
Very annoying.
names. You know what crimes they committed.
I know their crimes. I
You
know
know-
who they were looking to help out or whatever.
You've
Why
got-
they didn't want to be delayed.
Yes, you've got a sign, and you've got a 4-digit number.
It's going to be based on some sort of pun or double meaning that I do
Or
not
you
understand.
turn the numbers over and it spells a word.
Or traffic related things. Again, just something completely out of my wheelhouse, which is fine. That's okay.
Yeah, or
Maybe a ghost did it.
I'm going to feel really bad if it relies on a specific bit of knowledge about England, and I'm like, oh, god damn it, how do I not know that?
That's down the road.
License revoked.
Next up, though, we've got Inspector, episode 11, The Ultimate Fiction. Tell me all about it, guys.
All lies. Every last bit of it. But they're entertaining lies, and that's what makes it important. That's what makes it work.
It's kind of what I thought. Like the fourth one was based on the first three, setting up the fourth one's existence.
Yeah, it's introduced, the previous three introduced elements of each that when you take them and put them together in the context of this fourth one, it adds up to a plausible explanation. Fourth explanation being, she faked her own death and set up the website and the urban legend to further lend credence to the fact that she's definitely dead and not coming back.
The person who set up this website is Nana Say herself. Reveal yourself, moderator. I accuse you.
You were there, admin. Show yourself, coward.
It's really kind of funny to see her one as the admin going like, wait, what? You know it's me. You know I'm doing the crime, right? But no, she's creating a more plausible and believable and interesting fiction where it's actually... She set up another woman to die in her place and had her prince around, befriended this woman, and then killed her so that she could disguise herself as the woman who she was going to... who she had replaced her as a body and took over her life, and then set up this ghost thing to prove that she was dead. Yeah, I guess because her sister had doubts that she was dead, and I was like, okay, so the police might still be looking into me, so I gotta nip this in the bud by making a ghost of myself. Who better to play me than me?
Yeah,
that kind of way.
Goes out at night in the costume, spooks people. And people, or rumors start going around. There's this ghost of fucking Nana Say Karen. She's in his get-up and she's scaring people. That speaks to the girder and it gets around. So goes along with that. While casing one of the locations for a possible spook to former people, runs into Tarada, who's on the case and trying to look into these rumors himself, as we know he was doing. Comes to the petrol station and it's like, what are you doing out here? And then him being an astute detective dude, he probably would have noticed that, there's some details about this woman here look a lot like Nana Say Karen. No, the hair is different, maybe the eyes are as well. Who will forget a rack like that?
Oh God, they keep bringing that up. I did like the way the prior ones, especially like the third fake story was like the idea of someone else is dressed as her. Like basically the people in the chat are basically coming up with that theory that's like, oh, she was dressed as herself, that kind of thing, without her prompting them to do that. And even the cops kind of like, that's fucking impressive. That story was shite, but it gave them the idea that someone could dress as her, and her dressing as her was more plausible than someone else doing it. So yeah, it really kind of leads them by feeding them. You tell them a bunch of lies, but then they'll believe this other fucking lie. That kind of way. It works out quite well.
And even then, the setup for King the detective, well, she's already killed one person to try and craft this fiction, so who's to say she couldn't kill again? And then the detective, just sees an unassuming young woman who he just wants to ask for questions of, and then she takes him by surprise and finishes the job with a rock and smashed his head in. So that's why he didn't defend himself.
He didn't expect it, like in the middle of nowhere. This wasn't him investigating the case. I've heard rumors of some young lady up here. It's just like, hey, you kind of look like the one I'm looking for. That's weird.
Yeah, and also as well using the in the earlier story about her father, like suicide, but not really a suicide, to try and reputation. So it's puts in, oh yeah, I can use like suicide or the appearance of suicide or faking your own death or anything like that to try and.
So basically, her father trying to ruin her career gave her the idea to put herself into hiding or create a new identity in life for herself. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all bullshit. It's probably
obviously, yeah, because we know what's really happening. But yeah.
All this contradicts what we not most of it contradicts what we have from our testimony from our the builder ghost we have on at the building site. So we know I have an idea of what probably would happen. It doesn't really line up with all of this, but it doesn't matter because the form is ablaze. Their imaginations are on fire, and all of the energy they're putting towards believing in this urban legend is now being put towards trying to disseminate this theory and discuss it and come up with their own conclusions about it. Kotoko actually says, trying to go to a vote, ladies and gentlemen. There won't be a poll, but just kind of, come to your own conclusions.
Think about what you believe is the truth. Yeah.
Just really think really hard about it, and then that.
And one of the ways she was countering your one's powers of like locking in the future was when she countered each of those arguments she was making by killing herself or posting on the forum. She locked in that future, but she sowed the seeds for the fourth story in those ones. So all those ones are fucking locked in. So you can't go back and change the things you've already locked in by changing fate. So there's basically ever no options to change fate in order to make people disbelieve this fourth theory. And I was like, oh, that's quite nice. Because obviously the only one she has the powers to work with is her boyfriend, which doesn't quite work the same way. Yeah.
It's just like, you've manipulated causality yourself into a corner.
Yeah, pretty much. Really, really, really fun stuff. I can see why it's written and everything, because most of the action is your man just like wailing on a ghost that's currently leaking black ooze. My favorite part is where she stabs him with the girder, and he does the thing where you walk along the length of the sword, but as a girder. Just gross as
I can't kick your ass without getting closer to you.
That's most of the action, and the rest of it's just discussion. Yeah,
he gets a coup de grace then by finishing off the foul spirit with its own steel girder.
Yeah.
It was like a good yarn, a good kind of weaves in there. It probably works very well as a book, but it did take quite a long time to get through in the TV format.
I think they did the best that they could with a thing that is a lot of discussing and talking about theories and how narrative works and that kind of thing. And I can see that working, a lot better in written form than visual, but I think they did a reasonable job of it.
Yeah. How do you feel against your watching of Conan then as well in the last couple of weeks versus this, and what it is trying to say or discuss about detective or mystery fiction as a whole?
See, I feel like in Detective Conan, it's like Brian was saying, it presents you a fair mystery that you can solve yourself if you know the same information that the characters know, which is generally like a couple of obscure things or just paying attention to details, that kind of thing. Like the last mystery on Conan where the guy was using the zoom on his phone to when he couldn't find his glasses. I'm doing that now when I put down my glasses and I forgot where they were. I learned things. So it's a lot more like it's practical detective stuff, like your old Agatha Christie things or whatever, where you can figure out the mystery before the end of the book kind of thing. Whereas in this, it's more so talking about the nature of narrative and the nature of how people view narrative. It's more kind of postmodern breakdown of it rather than the same kind of format, which is what Conan does. And it does it very well, but this is more so talking about how people react to narrative and story, which is and I like it for that. That's one of the reasons I quite enjoyed the show.
Yeah, I like it as well, just how it shows how people's bias and experiences, they can draw this two polarly opposite things from the same basic set of data points, the basic set of facts. And they can be equally as viable a conclusion to draw from the same source, which is, I think, maybe a more contemporary interpretation of things like that.
Sure.
Still took a bit of a while to get through. I actually had to go back and remind myself, why was Rika doing this to the ghost in the first place? It was the testaments of her own powers, because she's
it was basically, if I can create a murder ghost with my powers, then I can do a lot of fucking things to become more powerful, that kind of way.
Yeah, but it had been so long, and we'd only interacted with her just briefly, just shots of her stabbing herself in the neck again in the room somewhere.
See, this was the opposite of Conan, and that you can figure it out, because obviously all the characters, and I did enjoy that for the show, like all the characters have figured out who the real mastermind is because they knew him, but we as the audience have never fucking heard of this character except for, it's like, oh, he's got a cousin in hospital, and I was like, okay. But yeah, after the fact, I suppose you could figure out, his cousin must have similar powers based in similar family kind of thing. But there's no reason to think that she's the evil mastermind behind it. That kind of thing.
Yeah. There's going to be one more released anyway.
I don't know if it's going to be like wrap up or kind of like where the series is going from that, or yeah.
Are they going to like bang the cuffs in her or what? Or something like
I
that.
assume she's going to get away. They don't even know where the fuck she's posting from, so I don't see how they're going to get her. They just want to stop the murder ghost. That's their main concern right now.
Let's see. There's how many books to this are there? There's maybe more than it's just one. There is there's only 3 of them it seems. Or is this a manga? No, not it's books. 3 books.
Yeah, books.
So no, there's space for more. They can just adapt more of the stories in those if they really want to. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, no, good story. Like very weird characters, but fun nonetheless.
There we go.
Then we've got it's first of all it's my to Toei Tokusatsu things. Kira Major, episode 3. You Fool, I Don't Need Your Help. So this episode focuses on Blue. We get like an introduction, like a television magazine program profile of his acting career to open the show. And then after the credits run, they fight Clamp Mask, who puts a giant clamp on his head. And he tries to play it cool, says that it pretends that it isn't hurting him, having this giant clamp on his head, and then goes back to set and convinces the director to rewrite the script so that his character has fallen into a trap which has led him to have a giant clamp on his head. And they just have like his supporting cast do a lot of the action for him while he's got this giant clamp on his head. In order to get the clamp off, they need to get the arm of the clamp from Clamp Mask, and this ends up in a giant tug of war between the giant clamp monster, which he's managed to summon in, who's clamped onto Clamp Mask, who is holding at one end of the rod. Then the Red Kira Major is holding the other end of the rod, and then holding onto him is the fire engine, and then holding onto the fire engine are all the other vehicles. And so it becomes a giant tug of war. They manage to pull it away. They unclamp Blue's head. He can properly transform, and then he immediately throws the clamp arm back to Clamp Mask so they can have a proper duel. And they're like, what are you doing? Basically, they're trying to convince him at the start that he doesn't have to be cool all the time. But then they realise, oh no, being cool all the time is his thing. We should let him at least be cool all the time, even though it might drive us a bit nuts. And then they combine into their 3-piece robot and their 2-piece robot. And then Red gets the inspiration. What if we combined all 5 of our vehicles together, and then they combine into the 5-piece robot and they kick the monster's ass? That's that episode taken care of. Kamen Rider 01, episode 28. My Rap Changes the World, however. Yeah, we're kind of into pretty Babylon territory here. Zaya have essentially paid off politicians and are manipulating the news to try and get them to vote against the autonomous Humagear City. Heat and Intelligence bring out their secret weapon. What's his name? He's got a great name, and it's important to the plot, and I've lost it now. Kamen Rider
Jim.
Zero. No, it's MC. Check It Out. That's his name. The Humagear rapper. And that seems to bring on board both the younger demographics and the retired demographics, like the really elderly demographics. They're fully on board with MC Check It Out. And then they end up catching the politician taking bribes. But when they confront him on TV, he's like, well, luckily I had my Zaya Glasses AI thing to show that, look, I was actually here at the time you say I was there. And this makes MC Check It Out get angry, and Thousands like, well, you want to get angry? Well, first of all, he's now marketing those raid belts. He's basically now beginning to publicise that and say, if you're afraid of Humagears attacking you, why we'll shortly have these available for you to buy. And gets Kamen Rider Valkyrie to demonstrate, and she uses the Jackal and turns into a Jackal raid. And she's in control, unlike the ones we've seen before. Now, the reason is this, because earlier in the episode, it was revealed that she and Fua have have got chips in their brains. She knew she had. Fua did not know he had a chip in his brain. That's how they've been able to turn into Kamen Riders all along. Apparently, without chips in their brains, they would not be able to do. And so that's how Hirobi was able to escape, is because it turns out that Jin hacked Fua's brain in order to help Hirobi escape, which leads to a duel early on in the episode between Thalza and Fua, where Hirobi comes and saves Fua. And Fua's like, why are you, my most hated enemy, coming to save me? This is a bad episode for Fua, because first of all, that all happens to him. MC Check It Out ends up turning into the Dodo Magia again, because he gets given an extinguished belt by Thalza. He's like, come on, you know you want to. Basically as like a combination of like, Human Gears can't be trusted, plus an advertisement for their raid belt. Yeah, and Naruto is kind of forlorn by the end of the episode about how badly everything's going, as are the other hidden intelligence executives. But then Fu was really forlorn when he starts having memories that he's the guy in the hood who was handing out the raid belts to people in the previous episodes. And Jin suggesting that he's the fourth member of their terrorist team. So yeah, don't know what's going on there. So I was like, who was actually giving the raid belts out? Was it Jin or was it Zaya? There's a line earlier where you guy Thalza is like saying, "Oh, we're going to make," because they're talking about Fua as a rabid dog, and they're going to make him an obedient dog. So I assume they're going to use that chip in his brain to control him. This has all been building up in like little bits and pieces, like him thinking he's seeing things behind him that aren't there. Yeah, I was expecting him to. I was like, it'd be weird for him to turn out to be a Human Gear all along because there's no signs. But he's got like an AI inside his brain. It's an AI chip. It's not just like a chip in its brain. It's an AI chip they've got in their brains. So that makes sense then that the terrorists can hack him despite being human. Or is he human? Anyway, it looks like a very bad day for our heroes next week. As the final decision, the end of the competition happens next week. Public opinion is against hidden intelligence. How can they turn it around? Will they turn it around? The only thing is, I was like, if Zaya win, they get the satellite, and then he won't be able to turn into Kamen Rider anymore. So I assume hidden. Well, those pretty much just hidden intelligence, they say now. Will win, but I don't know where that leaves the story going forward. I guess we can now focus back on Jin and his idea. But yeah, there's interest. Like MC Check It Out, when he starts getting mad, his argument starts to become Human Gear should rule humans. It's not like trying to exterminate humans anymore. It's like Human Gears would be better at looking after humanity than humanity are.
Oh, yeah. So, like, robots that they don't want to take over for, like, fuck humans. It's like, oh, no, because we'd do a better job of it. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, it was a very good episode. And, yeah, it was like, oh, now, like, the selling of the raid belts is like, oh, yeah, that's the full military-industrial complex, but, like, actually marketed towards civilians. As like, yeah, how do you just suddenly have loads of people turning into monsters to protect themselves from other monsters? With the irony is, I guess, if he takes control of hidden intelligence, there wouldn't be any Human Gears for them to fight anymore. So he'd just be selling weapons. And we still don't really know what his plan is. And like when Hirobi saves Fua, he just says it was the will of the Ark. So I guess Hirobi himself doesn't know why he had to go and save Fua. And we still don't know who fixed Jin, so loads of mysteries.
Yeah, it seems like there's other parties at work, yeah.
There usually is. There's usually about two more, based on how his X-Aid writing was.
Yeah.
There'll be probably two more factions coming up. Then we've got a couple of Pretty-Cure episodes from Nile.
Yeah, sure. It's like a big news, not like a secret, first of all. In which you meet the Precure's pal, Jimmy Olsen, aka Michio Masako, the school reporter, runs a school newspaper. It's a club of one, in case you couldn't have guessed that already. He's Princess of Nodoka. She's just moved into town, and just moving into town we got all these important signs of monsters attacking the place. What's going on? I think you guy might be just something to do with you, some of the monsters. You're the evil villain bringing the monsters here. Oh, thank God, you think we're pretty curious. Wait, hang on, that's much worse. We're not some of the monsters. Oh, I don't know, but the evidence lines up. Before you got here, no monsters, but now you're here, there are monsters. It makes rational sense. I spin a news story around here. I'm going to follow you around until I get the scoop I'm after. So, gets cast kind of following her around with Chiyu and Hinata running interference. He's doing definitely the whole Jimmy Olsen thing. He's hiding in the bushes. He's peeking around through the windows. He's disguising himself as a classical alabaster bus, trying to get a shot of her. It's pretty relentless. But Chiyu and Hinata are doing a good job trying to run interference, being good pals, looking out for their buddy. Chiyu, in fact, breaks a local athletics record in service of a diversion. Just like, hey, everybody, watch this. And she just does her bit in a high jump bar. Like, wow, she broke the local record. That's amazing. I better get a photo of this for the paper. But he manages to kind of corner her in a sense in the forest. It's like, dude, stop following me around. What's going on? Why you like this? Oh, I'm sorry. Just being a reporter has always been a passion of mine. Like, if I've ever had something inside yourself that you've seen, you want to share with the rest of the world, just like we talk about it. For me, it was when I was a kid, seeing a spider web covered with dew in the morning. It was just such a simple but beautiful thing. And the guys agreeing, yeah, that's pretty nice. Yeah, I gotta go back and tell everybody about it. But then I keep going on about it, and I be over enthusiastic and drives people away and says, yeah, I can see how that happened right here, dude, because you're following me around the surface of this story and you're acting like a bit of a stalker. So I can see why people may not like you very much. But at the same time, I can understand your passion. However, you must be able to direct that passion and, share with people in a way that lets them in rather than blocks them out. That's pretty good. Look at that story, though. The story comes to him when the monsters attack, and he's just on the case already. I think it's some kind of umbrella monster, if I recall correctly. And he's just straight up there. Hello there, sir. Sir, can I get a name, please? Giant monster? What's your name, occupation? What are you doing here? And it's kind of cute how the giant monsters happened 3 episodes ago as well. They seem to be utterly perplexed and baffled when confronted with anything that falls outside of the purview of destroying the town. They're just like get all flustered and embarrassed. It's like, I don't know what to say. Oh, it put me on the spot. I didn't know it was going to be an interview here. But he learned his lesson. The real story here is that that Nodoka and Chiyu and Hinata are such great friends. But that's obvious. It's hardly a massive scoop. But I appreciated the sentiment of like, yeah, I can understand how you can get really into your passions and hobbies and things. You want to share them, but if it's all you talk about, or you talk about to ad nauseum, it can always serve to drive people away instead, rather than let them in and share and talk with people like you mean to. Keep that in mind, folks. I also appreciate the continuity of that because he appears in the final episode. Chiyu can't jump at the athletics tournament, or despite breaking that record in the previous episode, Chiyu finds that her rivals will go stronger as well because they got a big track beat coming up with the school next parish over, and Michio Masako, Jimmy Olsen, he has the photos of their progress there. They've got some pretty hot contenders. Hope the rest of the team aren't getting nervous, but of course Chiyu comes in. What are you guys talking about? Oh, nothing to do with school next parish over having like a red hot track team. It's like, no, okay, look, I'm not worried about it. I've always looked at my athletics as a contest against myself. My greatest rival is me, so I am only looking to try and surpass my own abilities, my own limits. But then she goes and do a routine go on the high jump bar, and she blows it. And it's like, that's not like me. I never admit mistakes. Or not to that extent, but it's like she's usually pretty good in her execution. And that gets everybody worried, or most people anyway. It gets her little partner, Peggy Tan, very worried indeed, because he's very anxious. but it's a different kind of anxiety where it's not about himself. He's more worried about somebody else. He's consulting his treatment books in the little bejeweled medical bag, and says, oh, she's got a case of what is called in sports the yips, the terrible disease where normally you think you could do without thinking about very easily. You can't do suddenly, and the more you try it, the harder it gets. Oh, this is terrible, and she's got a big track meet at the end of the week. We got to help her out. Whereas other two? Whereas Nolaka Hanata? They're out shopping. How can we be doing this when their friend is in need? I'm going to go sort them out. But they were out shopping because they were getting materials to make a banner to cheer her on. It's like, oh, what? What's going on? Yes, as we know that she's having a little difficulty right now and having a bit of doubt in her own, and she's lost a bit of her own confidence. However, the more we kind of go on about that, the worse she'll feel as you feel less confident. So what we should do is cheer her on and support her, because as she said herself, this is a struggle against oneself. She's her own rival. So it's good to be concerned about her. It's good to be worried about her. It's very, very sweet, but we should try and support her and try and restore that confidence by not making a big deal out of this, essentially. However, there's no chance for that to happen because track meet is destroyed by a giant monster, of course. And they're struggling around trying to come up with a strategy to defeat it. But in the heat of the moment, which is kind of funny because it's an ice monster fashioned out of the cooler to keep all of the keeping all of the track things cool. In the moment, she uses just falls back under height of experience to jump over the monster's ice barrier and cure it and extract the element spirit. And it's like, oh yeah, when it came true, and I was kind of directed towards like a focus towards a goal, I just do it just fine. And even though the track meet is ruined, she just for posterity does a leap over the bar, does it no problem at all. Hey, I'm back, baby. I never lost it. I always had it. Also, the bargain to get another element bottle as well. So we got another ice bottle in there. So again, looking towards it being either a new transformation or to get new members. I think it'll be some kind of alternate transformation that here is Cure Fontaine ice mode, and they get new
like a power up. Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, nice little things. Again, I appreciate the continuity of can't just forget about things in character from one episode to the next, which is this approach I'm taking seems to illustrate much better, because I don't forget things as much when watching them in close proximity. Next time, we got Hinana's cute plan, where they do go shopping for real this time. They go to the mall, they're going to get all dolled up, it's going to be totally cute, totally sweet, but probably be disrupted by monsters at some point. It's a fun time.
Talking again, disrupted by monsters, Gegege no Kitaro, episode 96, The Second Great Yokai War, in which presumably coronavirus concerns affected the animation a little bit here and there in the episode. So we've got Nezumi Otoko full of rage, rabble-rousing other yokai.
And you guys were right all along. Kitaro was a fool, but the guy with the hair in his teeth was working with your man the whole time. Yeah.
And then Mana shows up to tell the Kitaro gang that he's dead, and Neko Musume is not having any of it. Let's go and speak to Enma, and I'll take his place. They're all going to go, but then Dad goes, no, I'll go with Mana and Neko Musume. The others go and try and stop them from having a war. Meanwhile, Nurion is about to double-cross Backbeard. But Backbeard's like, I know you're going to double-cross me, so you drink my wine as well.
Okay, why would you offer wine to a giant eyeball? Like, he does fucking drink it somehow, but...
He's a foreigner. He probably drink wine.
But he's a giant eye in the sky. He doesn't have any capability for drinking.
Oh, you can eyeball it. It gets into the bloodstream faster.
I'll just pour this wine into my eye. I do like the way they showed that off screen, because it just got me very frustrated. It's like, how is he drinking it? At least Frankenstein and the Wolfman and the Dracula, like they all have mouths to drink wine with. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and he's fine, so they drink the wine, but they're not fine because he'd mixed in the blood of Rex Nemorensis, a priest.
Isn't that the holy person?
It's a priest of the goddess Diana.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Looked that up.
Yes.
A weird cult, so we say.
Because you guys are all about Western religion stuff, and that means that holy things affect you. But I don't give a shit about that because I'm Japanese, baby.
We don't care about holy things.
Or at the very least, they care about different holy things.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I suspect that he might be caring about some things next time.
Yeah.
So they get to hell, and he's like, yeah, I'm really pissed off because everything going up in the living world is sending far too many people down here. But Kitaro's not here. He's somehow ended up in the land of the unbeing.
It's worse than being in hell.
It
Void.
is. It is a white void.
I think I need to go back and double check, but if I'm not, there's someone or something.
Yes,
else
there's
with them,
somebody else.
though.
I was literally
is it
double checking
Nanashi?
that right now.
It's gotta be Nanashi, right?
What happened to him at the end? Didn't you get?
I feel like Nanashi got like reincarnated though, didn't
Yes.
it? Essentially.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless
I'm
it's
That would
wondering,
make sense, but I think
I'm
his ending was
wondering,
different.
is Nanashi waiting in the void until they can be reincarnated? Because they were
Okay.
born from nothing, and then they born from nothing and wanted to become something. But maybe they're still waiting in nothing for their chance to.
or it's
Yeah.
or time works differently, and Mana's already there from when she goes in there at the end of
Or
the episode.
Nanashi's already there and time works differently. Yeah. Could be.
It could be to kind of tie it back anyway, just have Nanashi there as well, because it's going to be like the last lap before the end of the series.
Oh yeah, but I think he totally called it Brian. It's like, hey, Mana's the only one who can go get him. And it's like, wait, you're sending the new character for this series into the place that will make you forget about a character. That's not good for her.
Well, but also they have to sacrifice Nekomusume's life to open the gate in the first place. But first of all,
Should be
we've
grand.
got Nozomi
All at
Otiko's
once.
like,
Okay.
yeah, sure, you can kill the Prime Minister, Nozomi Otiko, but before you do that, you've got to kill Mana, because she's the one who started all this.
And he just slips him a fucking pistol. Get it done.
There's no arcane like artifacts, no kind of like ancient dagger. No, here's just a Saturday night special. Take care of it.
Well, he gave his own boy like a fucking a minigun, or sorry, 2 miniguns the
Yes.
last episode. So apparently he's okay with shooting. Like, and again, you see the yokai driving around in tanks and stuff. A lot of things kill humans. We're okay with that. We don't need special human killing guns. That's called a gun.
Yeah, so yeah, he's not doing that, so he's like, okay, well, I'll have to do this. But then Blackbeard has forced himself back into reality after escaping to who knows where, but he is not very well, and he's exploding. He's shooting bits of himself out all over the place. And if he blows up,
He's grossly expanding in space. Yeah.
he's going to destroy Japan, possibly the world. And the only one who can stop him is Kitaro. Then the 2 witches show up. Then the Kadoshu shows up. They get a minor squabble, but then they're like, okay, we have to use all our powers combined to... we need the fire of a yokai soul to open the gate to the land of the unbeing. And you'll have to go in because you're a medium, Mana. And that's where we'll end it, with Mana heading into the void.
And Nekomitsume presumably dead forever after they get through the void. Yeah.
Well, Droy burning her spirit bit by bit,
Yes.
so they gotta get back in.
Yeah, before she runs out.
And the preview is just lots of people injured, dying, or dead.
Like you got Sandwich and Old Man Crybaby out there with interference, throwing sand, getting in the way of us. Well, I suppose like Nurikabe and Rodocloth are going on as well, trying to quell the riots.
It's almost unfortunate that they decided to do the big penultimate thing now that everyone's really fucking sad about being stuck and everything, and not doing the big victory lap. Let's all go to the hot springs episode last. But I guess they had to get it in there, plot reasons, yeah.
Next week, the final episode of the series.
Man,
They didn't quite make it to 100 as well. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, if they hadn't taken those 3 weeks off, they could have done it.
just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
Then we got One Piece, episode 925, Dashing, the Righteous Sober Mask, which is an odd title because he denies being righteous during the episode. But
I mean, like he's acting righteous, I guess.
yes, except
Not that he wants
when he
to.
finally realizes one of the powers of Stealth Black's suit. And
My dream. I thought
finally
it
his
lost
childhood
forever.
dream has been realized.
The funniest part about that is like it's mixed bathing in this fucking town, so he could have just walked in there anyway. No invisibility required. Yeah.
It's just like a little subplot of his wrapped up. I know his dream was to find all the best seafood.
Yeah, sure,
in the
that
world,
was
but
his
it's
dream.
like,
His
no,
dream
this is
wasn't to be
actually
a
it's
creep his
a
entire life.
personal goal. He's also cherished in his heart for so long, and we're just going to grant it to him now. He's been through a lot recently.
Yeah, but it also makes you wonder, based on a few episodes ago, if his final fight in the series is going to be against Shiryu, who you'd have assumed would have been Zoro's fight because he's a swordsman, but now he's another invisible man. That will save Oda a whole bunch of drawing. Two invisible men fighting each other.
And they fought each other somewhere. I bet he's kicking himself for not introducing more invisible men at this stage. Yeah.
Just doesn't draw it at all. It's just this is all happening in the background of the other fights. Just couldn't see it.
Yeah.
But
And
we
they
had-
give
you
the
weren't
anime a
paying
good
attention
reason to
to
go,
all.
here's the invisible man fight. We'll animate that.
Yeah, we open with, though, Sanji's magical girl transformation.
Oh, it's fucking great. Straight up magical girl, except on ripped, scarred dude.
Yeah, and the sound effects are Carmen Writer sound effects, but
That's true, yeah.
but the animation is all magical girl.
It's pink, isn't it? When it's insubstantial, it's pink
I
until
think
it
so,
actually
yeah.
affixes to his body. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, and the first half of the episode is him denying he's Stealth Black, and
Law going like, oh my god, I recognize all these moves. I know all this, and everyone's like, how the fuck do you know everything? And he's like, I'm not a massive nerd. Everyone knows this from North Blue.
yes, if you're from North Blue, you know all about Sora and his battle against the evil Germa 66. So just back off.
It's the one like dopey thing that Law has.
Oh, he's still
So
he's
far.
still got excited to see the ninjas.
I guess his crew are pretty dope.
He got excited to see a ninja.
He did. Yeah, he didn't want to, but he did give it away a bit.
We did.
He is a massive child as much as everyone else in this fucking world is a massive child, yeah.
But yeah, the bulk of the episode is Sanji versus Page One, which obviously is a little longer than it is in the comic.
Yep.
Uh,
Good. I want to see a dinosaur get kicked in the face
Yes.
multiple times.
And then turn into a half man, half dinosaur form, and then continue to get kicked multiple times. What else do we get? We get Luffy in prison asking if Kid's got any more of his dumplings left because
He's trying to have a midnight snack, but he's eating all of it.
Yes. And we get Robin forgetting that ninjas existed when she's sneaking around looking for
Well,
stuff.
it's easy to do because you don't see them, and then they're very, very obvious once they do reveal themselves. Because that's a lot of ninjas. That's a lot of weird looking fucking ninjas.
Yeah, and Komurasaki plays that one particular song for Orochi, and she has to put a mask on to play it. And now in the comic, we know why. Well, I assume she's either crying or she's full of rage behind the
Yeah.
mask.
Yeah.
It's definitely to hide her emotional state while
Yes.
playing it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Ends with to be continued as he's demanding where Sober Mask is.
Yeah, I think the only ones we other check in on is like Nami and our ninja kind of sneaking around, and Brooks also.
Oh, yeah,
Ghosting around.
yeah.
But yeah, they haven't completed anything yet.
Frankie and Usopp and Law leave Sanji to it in the end, and Sanji's pondering getting Usopp and Frankie to alter the costume so it doesn't have the 666 marking on it. I do like his
so it's more cooking related.
Yeah, I do like his posing, his sober mask posing of like miming
Is that built into the suit, or is he just like playing the part? I don't know.
eating. Well, I guess because he begins doing the suit, he begins doing the German 66 posing, and then changes it to the sober mask posing. And I do like how there's like it on the screen, the German 66 logo has just got 2 black lines through it. It's like no,
like hastily fucking changed. Yeah, and the actions of pretending to eat soba it's a cool gimmick. And the lads are just going like, no, that's a lame name. Get a better name. Please let us name you.
Please give us the naming rights.
Dear. Because it is a pretty rad fight, but yeah, very silly name.
Yeah, I do like how Sanji's like, yeah, I if we're going up against an emperor, I should get over myself. Because me being too proud to use this item might cost somebody their life. And
Yeah, because basically it's doing like the airwalking for him, something he learned to do. So now that he has a device that does it, it's like, well, this fucking doubly powers me up kind of thing.
Yeah, and you can take more
damage. It would be
damage.
stupid to not use it.
He can produce
exactly.
absolute terror shields.
Dear.
And he can turn invisible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's not above using this like the proper tool for the job in the kitchen. So why not do the same in his pirate career?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I forgot Sora has a robot in the story, so I assume somebody on the bad guy side is going to be the Sora representative, because clearly Germa 66 at this point are going to be allies at the end.
Yeah.
Because they've lost all their rights with the world government now, so... And Sanji's sister fancies Luffy, so I'm sure they're going to show up at some point. I mean, in this arc, I'm half expecting either everybody to show up or the war to just spill out of Wano and into the rest of the
And to just be
world.
continuous war and continuous rushing to the 1Vs or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It feels like more chaotic. Like, it's half the pirates are actually totally on board with Luffy, whether he likes it or not. And then the other half are, I hate Luffy, but I hate this other guy more, so I guess I'm on Luffy's side for the time being.
Yeah, also...
You know, you crocodiles and whatnot.
Yes, yeah, and obviously all the Shichibukai are like wanted now, so even the ones who've got a mild grudge against Luffy, I'm sure will end up
Bigger fish to fry.
Yes, an enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you gotta think like the Shichibukai and so forth like that. They were pirates as well. Like the government would have you.
Yeah.
They think you're absolute scum anyway. It's just because it's going to give you a little bit of power at the middle manager of some of these pirates, and you feel like, oh, well, I'm fine. I'm insulated against this. I'm not the same as them. You are the same as them. They will see you as a means to an end and nothing else. They never had any respect for you.
At least the pirates were honest about what they were. Fucking monstrous criminals.
Well, yeah.
It's a conflict of freedom versus order, I suppose. Can you have freedom within constraints of order, or does like order necessarily essentially quash freedom?
Yeah.
Where's the middle ground? The space, perhaps, if some of these like stories are being believed from the front covered pages.
And then finally, we've got Keep Your Hands Off Izuka in episode 12, the Shibahama UFO Wars. So the issue is that the demo song they used to do the dance scene, the guy had changed his mind and wrote a different song, and Asakusa did not open the text file.
The text attachment, yeah.
For 2 weeks.
Just open the audio files or whatever.
We gotta figure out this was the only time we got to work with. No, we could use some royalty-free ones, but it would just sound like shit, and also it wouldn't match up with the dance. So,
and we need to have the DVDs printed by the crowd that they were going to print them by. They were going to have them printed like 4 tomorrow, but there's like we might be able to extend the deadline to like 12 o'clock. but we still need to replace the sound now.
Yeah, I like Kanamori. Just while they're trying to figure out their strategy for this, she just goes into the corner and is on the phone to her guy. He's like, "Yeah, Shigeru, remember that thing I said might happen? Well, guess what happened."
And she does, and even when she can't get like the extension that they need, she's kind of like, she doesn't give them a bulk, and it's like, yeah, they got overheads to manage too.
Yes,
I can't really blame them.
They're outside presses because they weren't able to, because what she ends up doing is somehow getting data which she pays the guys who got busted last time. So they end up,
I guess because they're not doing it officially within the school, they can use these guys from their outside the school.
well, no, wasn't it the people she originally had lined up were outside the school? So
I thought those guys, that was a school club. My mistake.
no, they were people, because they couldn't use the people who they're going to use because they got busted by the security club.
Yeah.
Because she says yes, because basically she's explaining that we're dealing with people outside the school with these reproductions, so we can't dick them around the same way we would dick around people in the school. So that's why
they won't give us leeway because they don't really care about curiosity or artistic
or the art of it or anything.
We're trying to run a business here, so you either put up or shut up.
So instead, she breaks into where the guys who got busted are hiding or under arrest. I don't know, with some data they need, and in return,
they're working underground, and she gets a fucking angle grinder to cut through the door just so she can open the fucking indoor lock. That was so badass.
Konbanwa.
So Asakusa's idea is, we'll just cut the dance out because really that would not happen in the real world. There'd still be a whole load of problems.
And we'll put it as a DVD extra, and it'll be a really fucking good one. We can say exclusively animated. It's what the true vision would be, the unedited version or something.
We'll put it online once we've got the proper song for it. And they just need 2 more cuts. They've got till midnight.
And we'll change our story around. It'll be that we had these same setup. We had the 2 pilots from the other side of the Kappa and the human. They learn about the secret history and the thing they could connect it by, and then try and we get it going again. But the fighting keeps going, and because people aren't listening.
Because people are fighting for different reasons at this stage, so it's not gonna be solved by stopping the reason why they started fighting. Because now they're fighting because they have been fighting. So. Yeah, it's an interesting edit to.
I appreciate as well that even something as earnest and enthusiastic and positive as this TV show and the comics based upon, it's acknowledging that people are bullshit sometimes. We've encountered that in the course of our work here. We got from people trying to shut us down for just petty reasons. And there's no kind of tidy solution. As we found, again, there was no tidy solution to any of this. We found a solution, but it's by the one we originally envisioned. Some of our naivete may have been kind of brushed away over our experiences trying to make anime. And our work reflect that as we were evolving as a studio, as a creative outfit.
Yeah, so they get it done. Then they get to the boring part where they've got to sell it at the fair, which is the bit where Asuka
and it's a very like this isn't exciting. This isn't like the thing. And then one has a marketing strategy where we're going to put bags in your head, so they don't know which of you is the real one, even though it's very obvious which is the real one. But the fact that she's hiding her identity makes people go, "Oh, now I want to see this anime."
I have to craft your mystique,
and that does cause them to sell out. So. 100% success in like the most boring fashion possible.
Well, it's not very glamorous.
It's just a fucking hard graft. Like you just got to sit down, shake the hands, fucking sell the merch. Very simple, but it needs to be fucking done.
But
that's showbiz for you.
But that seems more important for setting up, showing like other characters showing up at the place, like
yes,
the
people who support them and everything. Yeah,
the principal is there.
The vice principal's there. Looking for farming anime. At the end, then they go home and watch it, and then you get the animation. And
I like the fact that it's her. Like it's a nice bookend with her watching anime on her own as a little kid, and her sharing what she's made with her friends,
and then falling asleep and not seeing it.
Yeah, but it's like it's kind of like resting when a job well done, even though. There's still a lot of improvements to be done.
Yeah, that is the one. I mean, I'm glad they did it in that it's good, but there's loads of things wrong with it.
Yes, I
Yeah.
actually really love that, and it's like it's both ballsy because they've literally shown you the shortcuts that animation takes, and you can see them in this very plainly. And you're like, I think the thing where they're trying to show that one's from the other world, that's kind of like glossed really quickly. And I know it's a very abstract concept to try and represent visually, and they did the best they could with it. But as you watching it, going like, yeah, I guess the kids did the best they could with this, trying to represent an abstract plot thing. It's like, wait a minute, the show did that as well, son of a bitch.
Yeah, just even that, you're not supposed to actually illustrate the fun diagrams with the arrows pointing.
That's the thing. I was like, if you hadn't had
Yeah.
all the dialogue from outside the anime within the anime, would you actually understand the story that they're trying to tell?
Yeah.
And there's also like weird things where the action will move from one side of the screen in one cut, but then the action
Yes.
will take up on the wrong side of the screen in the next cut.
If a thing leaves right to left, it doesn't
was
enter in.
very-
It enters in left to right or something like
I was
that.
going to say, it's good enough for Christopher Nolan. It's good enough for them.
Like it's very good, but you can see where they've made mistakes. You
Yes.
can see the shortcuts based off the show telling you what are mistakes and what are shortcuts and all that kind of jazz. And you're like, this is really good and it's really satisfying. But you can also go like, you can see that these guys have fucking moved on leaps and bounds, but they still have a lot of room for
Yeah, and
improvement.
you can also see like
oh, it's so
because the dance has got a cut out. It's almost totally Asakusa's obsessions in the thing
yeah.
to its
Yeah.
detriment. To a
So
little
it's
bit
not
about...
it's not a representation of them totally as a group as well. It is entirely flawed, and the fact that it doesn't give you that super satisfying, oh, we get to see the animation, it's all fucking perfect and brilliant. It's like, no, sometimes it doesn't work out as
Yeah.
well as you would want.
But then you get the thing
Um,
of like it igniting the imaginations of the people watching it, and then
Yes!
they get to do the trick of like, because we're a show who animates people's imaginations, we can still give you the good animation to end it with.
Yeah, it's nearly like ending on something unsatisfying in order to make you feel that progress needs to happen from this point. But it actually does give you the big, like, wow, everything's cool and fantastic and wonderful. As at the same time, it has its cake and eats it. It's fucking amazing.
Well, the idea was we had these ideas, these amazing things you want to share with the world, and that we have a mission accomplished. We've got it out. We
Yeah.
made this thing. We got it out to the people. They've watched it. It was nice to hear everybody putting in their discs, their DVDs at home. A few members of the student council are popping in their DVD player as well, so they're not above partaking of the activities of the clubs that they're trying to quash. But yeah, they've reached out to people. It's not our greatest world, either animated or otherwise, but there's still a lot of room for improvement. We can work towards that. But they've made a little improvement. They've made a little improvement in people's lives. They've just shown them something that is going to inspire them and entertain them. Even win a few of them over to their way of thinking, maybe. That's split screen thing of what very popular made. That everyone puts it in. But one guy puts it in last. He's very concentrating very closely with his palms pressed against his face. One saying, "This is really, really good, really bad. I want to get one shot at this." Is very carefully considering before we play on it.
It's like a lot of the thing that we do when we're talking about animation, where it's like, I can see there are flaws to this, I can see it's not perfect, but here's why I appreciate it. Here's what excited me about it. Here's what made me laugh, or maybe like go like, that's too fucking real. I can feel that. And they're representing that in the show within the show, but also mostly just the show itself. It's so fucking good, man. This show was great.
Yeah, it was like a very bright spot. Like a very, very reliable bright spot week upon week, and just sad that it's already done. So this is something I was really anticipating, looking forward to for the longest time. And then I got it. Now it's gone. But the comic is on the way. We're getting that anyway at some point.
And
so
Japan
that's
6. We got
Oh,
Japan
yes,
6
yes.
later in the year as well.
I suppose.
Yeah, not without. We still got a little bit of Super Shiro just to get us that like
Yeah.
fun
Look forward
small
to other
cartoon
things
stuff.
as well.
Yeah.
There's positive good things happening, but this is one that
Yeah,
Was that difficult-
you were
difficult
excited to watch
find?
it every week. I know. It's,
it came along at just the right time.
yeah,
For me personally, anyway. Well, coming into this year, trying to maybe look another way. Why do I enjoy cartoons again? It's because of these reasons, X, Y, and Z. This was just a great job of articulating why about animation in particular seems to grab me more than other forms of visual artistry, visual kind of media anyway.
Like it literally says sometimes like everything you see in an animation was put there by someone for a reason, even if that reason was just to fucking go like I need to fill that space with a thing. Like when I studied animation, one of the things I was warned is like, okay, this is gonna ruin animation for you because you're gonna see the cracks and the seams and the bits where the tape is holding it together. And for me, it didn't. It made me appreciate the craft of it more. And I love what this show is doing for people, where it's going like, here, we're going to show you all the fucking cracks in this, and then you're going to love it. And I think it did that really successfully. It's not a perfect show. We were talking about the episode with I'm trying to remember everyone's name. Goddammit, Kanamori, where we're like, yeah, we didn't like her ending, kind of being an ending to her character specific episode being taken over by another character. That kind of thing. Even the show itself is flawed, but you can still appreciate the quality within it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm not sure. It still might be my least favorite Yuasa TV show, though.
He's got a lot of good stuff.
He has got a lot of good stuff. That's the thing. But
yeah, I mean, like if it's the least favorite of a pile of really good shit.
Your least favorite Yuasa thing is probably better than most. Other creative outfits' best days.
Yeah, I think it's really strong up until the bit where they show their first animation. I don't think that
it's pretty tight up to that point.
After that is quite as good, but it's still good. It's still really, really good. But I think I liked all that stuff up until that first showing so much that I'm not sure the second arc could quite live up to it in the same way. But that may be sort of
like the second arc takes it a little slower as well because it's you're working on your own creative project rather than working on someone else's.
Maybe the story more than anything to do with the show itself, but that may just be a fact to do with the story. But we'll see. Let's say it's coming out in autumn from Dark Horse. The comic is. So it may be a long time before we get any material beyond this because it's coming out from Dark Horse.
Fucking Dark Horse, man. Strike while the iron's hot. No. Advertise it? No.
I refuse.
Well, they announced it at the right time, of like the end of the anime is the right time to.
Yeah, but they announced it. It's coming out in months when you have forgotten about this show.
Well, to be honest.
These things take time to sort out,
sure.
and
they
may have anticipated. Oh yeah, there's actually massive fervor built around this anime that started streaming on Crunchyroll and so on like that.
Yeah.
People want more of this, so we get to try and get a deal sorted out. Well, also you got to like translate this,
excuse me,
scan it, print it, distribute it. It'll take a while.
Yeah. No, I'm giving out more so because I'm frustrated I don't have it now because I'm greedy.
Give it to me!
And I'm more thinking of like the very long gaps between certain volumes of Blood Blockade Battlefront.
Oh,
yeah, that's true as well. They are known to do that.
They're putting out like Mob Psycho 100 as well, and that
was like well after the fact, though, wasn't it?
Kind of trickling out. Trickled out in the middle of the second series of that, didn't it?
I just got an email from Amazon giving me a new release date for Volume 4.
Stop listening to us, you creepy company. Gosh.
Oh, dear.
Righty-ho, that is everything for this week. Anything coming up on Secret Sailor Madness we need to know about?
Looking forward to looking ahead anyway to Nadia Secret of Blue Water. In my own viewing at least, and lead up to our recording of it, or podcast about it, it's gone full on Yamato on me. I expected that. I knew it was happening on the line, but it's gone that to a ridiculous extent. Entertaining. Okay. We'll see if it sticks to landing, if it lands at all.
Oh, have you got to the batch of episodes everyone says you should skip?
I'm a little before that, I think.
I'm well past that. I just like skimmed past that. There was like an episode here and there which had a fun sequence in it, but besides that, they were a bit of a wash. But you don't really miss anything. And just by the nature of it being based on like very Jules Verne inspired pulp serials, there's a fairly substantial like recap bit that gets you up to speed on what happened anyway. So you can just kind of watch
So you can just
those
skip it
bits
entirely.
for those episodes, and then you can get everything relevant in it in about 2 minutes.
On Dynamite in the Brain, we got a whole bunch of stuff which I need to release. Then we got the anime that it makers with Nile.
Hey,
What did we watch? We watched. I picked Pollyanna. You picked The Violinist of
Violinist.
Hamelin,
And then,
Anthony picked Space
Hakuge.
Moby Dick. Yeah, Hakuge, Legend of Moby Dick. So we've got that coming out. Me and Anthony this weekend are going to record a preview episode for the spring season, which we might stream at the same time. I may work something out with PowerPoint, see if I can get that figured out. I'm not going to make any promises, though. Otherwise, it'd just be us running through a list of, I didn't count, probably a whole load of anime. Many, many sequels. So many sequels, as always, these days. The 10th Yu-Gi-Oh! Series is...
It's not even about cards anymore.
But the ideal cards.
Otherwise, we'll be back here next week with more. Let's go. Goodbye.
Oi.
See ya.
Right now, let me switch off the stream.